Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak with everyone. For me, it's morning, so I will wish everyone a good morning, afternoon, and evening. And Rahul, I really appreciate you asking me to participate in this because I think it is really important not only to talk about our own experience, but to hear what other folks with disabilities experience in their lives. So, as Rahul said, I recently finished a clerkship at the Supreme Court of the United States, which in our system is the top court of the federal system, and it also reviews cases from state courts as well. So it's really, you know, just to say it objectively, it is a wonderful position for a young lawyer to have, and it's a position that a lot of people most people will never get to experience that type of relationship with our government and to see how the judicial system works. So I was very blessed and privileged to be a part of that, especially as one of the only blind people who I'm the second blind person to clerk there, but the first person, it had been some time, it had been about, I think, 12 years or so since the first blind clerk had been at the court. So you can imagine a lot of technological change happened from 2008 to 2020, and also a lot of institutional knowledge is lost when you only have a person with a disability there every 10 to 15 years. So it was in some ways a very in almost every way it was a very rewarding experience, but it did once again remind me that as a person with a disability, when you're entering into certain areas of the law, you are always you're going to be the one who's not only the one who's trying to get all the work done, but you're also going to be the ambassador for other folks with disabilities who you hope to come after you. Um, so I just want to use my time here to speak on a few topics. The first is, as Rahul mentioned, I only graduated in 2016. So in the grand scheme of lawyer land, I'm still quite a new lawyer. And I've also had 4 different jobs in that time because I worked for 3 different judges, and then now I'm at the firm. So I've had quite a lot of experience moving from place to place and having to navigate what it's like to enter a new work environment that where most people have never interacted with a blind person before. And I readily admit that everyone's strategies are different, and so the strategies that I employ as to how to get myself taken seriously and part of the team might not be for everyone, and some people might vehemently disagree with some of the approaches I've taken, and that's fine. I think I really, as I get older, I really have begun to believe that there is no one size fits all solution for everyone, and we all just have to do what we are comfortable doing in the moment to get ourselves taken seriously. So my approach has been to really concertedly seek out allies. I have I mean, to use the term that is in modern usage, I would say friends or mentors. But ever since but actually before I entered into law school, my understanding was that I was not going to be able to succeed and do what I needed to do at this point in our history without very serious, strong support from people who are not disabled, or at least that are sighted. And my thinking behind that was that things being what they are, there are going to be questions that people have that for legal reasons or even just social pressure reasons, they don't want to ask me directly. And I would rather, even this, though this is not an ideal situation, I would rather have it be the case that those questions can be answered and those fears can be assuaged rather than them never being asked and perhaps the stereotype or the assumption being that I'm not capable. So I spent a lot of time and a lot of energy cultivating relationships with professors, for friends who were also in the legal profession, for creating this like network. And again, not just for purely utilitarian reasons of like wanting to get a job, but it's also just good for your life to have a broad network of friends and colleagues and mentors. And that way, in doing that, when it came time to apply for clerkships with judges, I knew that the judges, if they so desired, could reach out and speak to people who were not me and say, she worked for you, how was her work product, or how did this work, or can she do track changes, can she do these things that maybe they don't feel comfortable asking me. And the other, that's one broad approach. And I would say the other approach that I have adopted over time is to be very blunt and direct when I um, start a new job and begin working with a new partner. One of the struggles at a place like Kirkland is it's an extremely huge firm. So you could be working with a different partner on a variety of different, you could have 6 cases and you're working with 6 different partners, which means that each time you have to go through the same process of educating them until everybody knows what you need. One of the hardest things for me been stating without apology and objectively what I need or what is a problem that is being caused by my technology. So instead of saying, I'm really sorry, but it would be helpful if you could send this to me in a Word document, to take that and instead say, now that I'm on your team, it's important that people know that all documents have to be sent as Word files for accessibility reasons. And that's very uncomfortable as a new lawyer. And I oftentimes would recruit friends. I would send emails to friends, particularly male friends. For any of the women listening, I think this is something again where gender can play a role, where we tend to want to downplay things, and through socializing, we want to downplay things and minimize our needs. So I would send emails to friends and have them be like, nope. Like if I were asking for something that was totally reasonable, I would not phrase it this way. I would say it this way. And learning from them and taking that advice, so that when these emails are received, it's very clear from the beginning that, number one, the things that I'm asking for are reasonable, but more important, when something does come up that is a technological issue, it's not my problem. And it's not something that is tied to my merit as a lawyer. It's something that's tied to a technological problem. And so, just getting comfortable saying things like, just the other day, I got a case and I was sent a massive tome of PDF files that had not been OCR'd. And I wrote back to the partner and I was just able to say, just so you're aware, none of these files are accessible. It will take me some time to convert them into a format that I can use. I will need your assistant to help me to do that so that I can get this done in a more timely fashion. And like I said, I don't want to downplay. It is a very uncomfortable, for me, it's been an uncomfortable way of learning to be assertive. But I have found that doing that in conjunction with having a wonderful network of people, they feed into one another. So you do that with 1 or 2 partners and you earn their respect, and then you do the work product and they know that you can do it. So then the next time, if a partner reaches out and says, hey, I need someone, do you know anyone who has some time on their hands? The partner who's already worked with you can say, you should work with Laura, but by the way, just so you know, when you interact with her, these are things that help her to work faster and that are more accessible. So by doing it that way, you create this like feeler system of people who can then take on the part of the work for you of carrying that load and just doing part of the educating for you and doing part of the the hard work of getting people to take you seriously. And I think this does touch on another topic, which is the exhaustion that a lawyer can feel, that it is a lot and you never stop advocating and you're constantly in the position, whether it's a new client or a new partner, of getting people to take you seriously as a blind person. And I think that by doing the hard work in the beginning of cultivating a network, that whether it's, like I just described, a partner being the one to say, use Word, this is how you tag a PDF. It's important to tell Laura when you're CCing other people on an email because she might not otherwise notice all these things. They're doing some of that work for you. And then on top of that, when things do go wrong and you're having technology problems or some other issue that you can't control, you have those ears to listen and you have people that you can vent freely to without the fear of them thinking, oh goodness, maybe this is all just too much and I shouldn't be working with her. Now, all that being said, I do realize that I'm, not every professional setting is the same. I'm very fortunate. I also, we do have legal protections in place that people are largely aware of, so that even when you don't have super understanding people, I do have the luxury of having the backstop of the ADA and other laws that do protect me. And I realize that that gives me freedom that not everyone has, depending on the laws in their country or the system of their country. But those are my experiences, and I do think that partially through creating a community, like through this conference, that we will be able to trade tips and tricks and just be there for each other when that exhaustion, or when we've taken that leap of faith with a partner or a supervisor and it hasn't worked out so well for us. So those are what I'd like to share as an introductory matter, and I look forward to everyone's questions.